The skies above Earth's major cities filled with the shimmering hulls of alien vessels. Their ships looked both beautiful and scary. Humanity watched nervously as the Galactic Council made first contact. Ambassador Tejo stood before the human leaders. He was 7 feet tall with skin that glowed slightly in the shadows. "We welcome you to the interstellar community," Tejo said, his voice smooth and deep. "Our civilization spans thousands of worlds across dozens of galaxies. We offer friendship, knowledge, and prosperity." Colonel Ju Park stood at the edge of the meeting room. As Earth's military attaché to this new diplomatic mission, she noticed things others missed. The way Tejo's multifaceted eyes didn't match his friendly words. The way the other aliens kept their hands near hidden weapons. "Thank you for this historic opportunity," said the Secretary General of the United Nations. "Earth is honored to join the galactic community." Park whispered to her assistant, "Keep all defense systems on standby. Something feels wrong." In the weeks that followed, Earth's nations raced for council favor. The aliens shared amazing technology, cures for diseases, clean energy systems, ways to grow food in any climate. Human society changed almost overnight. Colonel Park received a new assignment. She would oversee security for the human embassy on the Council's massive space station orbiting Earth. The station was enormous, like a floating city among the stars. Park trained her team carefully. "Trust nothing. Question everything," she told them. "We represent Earth's interests here, not the Council's." 3 months into her assignment, Park couldn't sleep. She paced the empty corridors of the human section late at night. The station operated on a different daily cycle, and most humans were asleep during this night period. A flashing light on a control panel caught her attention. Someone had left a terminal unlocked in the communication center. Park sat down to secure it, but noticed an open file. Council documents not meant for human eyes. Her heart raced as she read. This primitive species shows unusual adaptability. Their biology and psychology make them ideal for labor integration. Recommend accelerated resource extraction protocol. Minimal resistance expected. Complete subjugation timeline. 5 Earth years. Park downloaded the files to her secure tablet. She needed to warn Earth immediately. But as she stood to leave, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Red emergency lights flashed in every corridor. Park ran to the observation deck. Through the massive viewport, she watched in horror as dozens of Council warships appeared from hyperspace near Earth. Their energy weapons cut through Earth's defensive satellites like paper. The station's communication system activated. Ambassador Tejo's face appeared on every screen. "The Council has spoken," he announced, his voice now cold and efficient. "Earth is now under galactic protection and management. Do not resist. Compliance will be rewarded. Resistance will be punished." Park ran back to the human quarters, activating her emergency communicator. "This is Colonel Park to all security personnel. The Council is attacking Earth. This is not a drill. Meet at evacuation point Alpha immediately." 12 minutes later, Park had gathered 23 people, a mix of military personnel and civilian scientists. They moved quickly through the service corridors. "Where are we going?" asked Dr. Minji, a quantum physicist who had been working on Council technology. "All the escape pods will be monitored." "Not where we're going," Park said, leading them to a restricted hangar. Inside sat a shuttle unlike the others. "We've been studying their technology for months. This prototype incorporates both human and Council systems." "You built this in secret?" asked Lieutenant Junot, looking impressed. "Always have a backup plan," Park said, entering the authorization code to open the shuttle. "Dr. Minji, you understand their propulsion systems better than anyone. Can you fly it?" The physicist nodded nervously. "I think so." As they boarded, security alarms triggered throughout the hangar. Armed Council guards appeared at the entrance. "Take off now," Park shouted, grabbing a weapon and firing at the approaching guards. The shuttle's engines hummed to life as Minji activated the systems. "The hangar doors are locked." someone yelled. Park smiled grimly. Not for long. She pressed a remote detonator. Small explosives, placed weeks earlier as a precaution, blew the control panel for the hangar doors. The massive doors began to slide open automatically as their safety systems engaged. The shuttle lifted off shakily, accelerating toward the opening. Council guards fired energy weapons, but the modified shields held. They burst into open space just as more Council ships arrived. Activate the experimental drive, Park ordered. Dr. Minji pressed a sequence of controls. The stars around them blurred as the shuttle jumped into hyperspace, using technology the Council didn't know humans had mastered. Through the viewport, Park watched Earth growing smaller, fires visible on its surface where Council weapons had struck. Tears filled her eyes, but her expression remained determined. They think we're primitive, she said softly. They think we'll surrender easily. What do we do now? Asked one of the younger scientists, voice trembling. Park turned to face the survivors. We fight back. We find others who escaped. We learn their weaknesses. And then we take back our home. As the shuttle disappeared into the darkness between stars, Earth continued to burn beneath the Council's attack. But they had made a critical mistake. They had left survivors. And humans, as the Council would learn, were dangerously good at adapting. The real war had just begun. The wind howled across the ice of the Kuiper Belt, battering the hidden asteroid base that now sheltered Earth's last hope. 3 years had passed since the Council's invasion. 3 years of occupation, struggle, and slow, careful planning. General Juu Park stood before the assembled resistance fighters. Once a colonel in Earth's military, she now led what remained of humanity's free forces. The small command center was packed with people, soldiers, scientists, engineers, and refugees from Earth. Their faces showed the strain of their long fight, but also determination. Tomorrow marks 3 years since Earth fell, Park said, her voice strong despite her exhaustion. 3 years since they thought they had won. But we are still here. The crowd murmured in agreement. What had started with just 23 survivors from the space station had grown to over 2,000 people spread across 5 hidden bases. We lost the first battle, Park continued, but not the war. Dr. Doyun stepped forward. Once a renowned physicist from Seoul National University, he now looked older than his 40 years. He activated a holographic display showing complex equations and engineering schematics. The Council believes humans are too primitive to understand their technology, he said with a small smile. This has been their biggest mistake. The hologram shifted to show an engine design. Their ships use controlled quantum tunneling for faster-than-light travel. We've studied their designs from the vessels we've captured. But we've found a way to improve it. Excited whispers filled the room. Park raised an eyebrow. Improve alien technology that's thousands of years more advanced than ours. Dr. Doyun nodded confidently. The Council stopped innovating centuries ago. They've used the same designs for generations. But we've discovered a way to collapse the quantum field more efficiently. Our version uses 30% less energy and increases speed by 40%. And how soon can we implement this? Park asked. The prototype is ready now, Dr. Doyun replied proudly. We've built it into the HFY. The assembled resistance fighters broke into cheers. The HFY was their first true warship, built from parts stolen in dozens of daring raids. Named after a mythical creature from old Korean legends, it represented 3 years of blood, sweat, and sacrifice. Later, Park walked with her second-in-command, Major Juno, through the hangar where the HFY waited. The ship looked strange. Part Council technology, part human engineering, with visible welding lines where different systems had been joined together. Will it actually work? Juno asked quietly. It has to, Park replied. We can't hide forever. On Earth, things had grown worse. The once blue planet was now scared with massive open mining pits. Forests had been cleared for resource extraction. Humans labored in camps, working until they collapsed to pull minerals and metals from their own world. But even there, Hope survived. Commander Sunwoo had been on Earth when the invasion happened. Now he led the ground resistance, moving between hidden bunkers and organizing strikes against Council operations. They didn't count on human stubbornness. Sunwoo told his team as they prepared for a raid on a Council supply depot. They thought we would break easily. His team moved silently through the ruins of what had once been Seoul. The city's towers had been demolished for materials, with only Council buildings standing tall now. Remember, timing is everything, Sunwoo whispered. The transport ships land every 30 minutes. We have a 5-minute window to place the charges and disappear. The raid went perfectly. As the Council supply ship exploded, Sunwoo's team was already miles away, hidden in the extensive tunnel network they had built beneath the ruins of human cities. But their success came with consequences. The next day, Supreme Commander Rico of the Council Occupation Forces stood in his tower, watching the smoke still rising from the destroyed depot. "These humans are becoming a nuisance," he said to his officers. 3 attacks in 1 month. Their resistance should have been crushed by now. His second-in-command stood at attention. "They hide among the worker population. It makes them difficult to identify." Rico's 4 eyes narrowed in anger. "Then we will make the price too high for them to continue. Increase labor quotas by 30% in all camps, and execute 100 randomly selected workers after each attack. Post the names publicly." The orders spread across Earth. Conditions in the labor camps, already horrible, became worse. But instead of breaking the resistance, Rico's cruelty only strengthened it. For every person executed, 3 more joined Sunwoo's forces. In the Kuiper Belt, the HFY prepared for its first mission. General Park addressed the small crew. "This is the most important operation we've attempted," she told them. "The Council maintains a communications hub in Antarctica. If we can access it, we'll gain entry to their strategic network." The HFY slipped out of the asteroid base, its new engines working perfectly. Dr. Dohyun's improvements allowed them to travel faster than any Council patrol vessel. Its experimental cloaking system hid it from Council sensors. The ship approached Earth under cover of darkness. The communications hub sat alone on the Antarctic ice, a massive dish aimed at the stars. "Minimal guards," reported the sensor officer. "They don't expect an attack here." Park nodded. "Begin the operation." A small team landed on the ice near the facility. They moved quickly through the freezing wind, planting small devices on the outer wall. The special charges, designed by Dr. Minji, created a hole without any explosion or sound. Inside, the team worked quickly. They subdued the few guards and reached the main control room. There, they connected a special device to the Council network. "Download complete," the team leader reported over the comm. "We have access to their entire strategic network. Returning to the ship now." As the HFY left Earth's atmosphere, Park looked at the data streaming across their screens. For the first time, they could see Council ship movements, supply schedules, and communication codes. "Now we can fight on equal terms," she said quietly. The Resistance had just become a real threat to the Galactic Council, and they had no idea what was coming. The Resistance command ship, HFY, floated silently in the shadow of Saturn's rings. Around it gathered 30 smaller vessels, a fleet that had been impossible to imagine just a year ago. The ships were a mix of captured Council vessels, repurposed mining craft, and new designs built in secret asteroid bases. General Park stood on the bridge of the HFY, looking at the assembled fleet commanders on the view screen. 5 years had passed since the invasion. Her hair now showed streaks of gray, and a scar ran across her left cheek from a near miss during an early raid. "Operation Phoenix begins now," she announced. "For 5 years, we've been hiding and striking from the shadows. Today, we show the Council that humans aren't just pests to be exterminated. We are the fire that will burn their empire to the ground." The commanders nodded, their faces serious but determined. "Remember your assignments," Park continued. "Strike fast, hit hard, and withdraw before they can coordinate a response. May fortune favor the brave." The screens went dark as each ship activated its engines. Dr. Doyan's improved drive systems gave them a crucial advantage. They could move faster than Council vessels and jump in and out of hyperspace with greater precision. On the Council command station orbiting Earth, Supreme Commander Rico received the first alert with disbelief. Human ships attacking the fuel depot in the Jupiter sector. Impossible. Before he could organize a response, another alert sounded. Supply convoy under attack near Mars orbit. Then another, mining operation under attack in the asteroid belt. And another, patrolled squadron ambushed near Venus. Rico's 4 eyes blinked rapidly in confusion. How are they attacking in 4 places at once? Their technology can't possibly. His aide interrupted. Sir, the Jupiter fuel depot has been destroyed. All ships lost. The attacks continued for 3 days. Human vessels appeared suddenly, struck with devastating precision, and vanished before Council forces could respond. Dr. Doyum's improved drives made it impossible for Council ships to track them. 1 week later, Rico stood before the Grand Council's holographic projection, trembling. Explain these failures, demanded the Council leader. The humans have evolved their tactics. Rico stammered. They've adapted our technology in ways we didn't anticipate. Unacceptable, the Council leader replied coldly. You are relieved of command. Executor Minha arrived on Earth 2 days later. Her species was known for their pale blue skin and total lack of mercy. She had crushed rebellions on 7 worlds before being assigned to Earth. Her first action was to gather all senior officers. The human problem requires a final solution, she declared, her voice like ice. Supreme Commander Rico treated this as a minor insurgency. I recognize it for what it is, an existential threat to Council authority. She activated a holographic display of Earth. Identify all population centers with known resistance activity or sympathizers. An officer highlighted several regions. Begin orbital bombardment of these areas immediately, Minha ordered. Survivors will be relocated to maximum security labor camps. The officer hesitated. But Executor, millions of productive workers will be lost. Minha's gaze froze him in place. The Council has millions of worlds. We need to make an example of this one. As cities burned on Earth, General Park received the news with horror. She's targeting civilians, Intelligence Officer Jisu reported, her voice shaking. Entire regions are being bombed from orbit. Park's fists clenched. Move up the timetable for the Mars operation. We need to show them the cost of such brutality. Dr. Doyan entered the command center, looking exhausted but triumphant. It's ready. The shield disruptor works, Park asked. Better than expected, he replied. Council shields use quantum harmonic frequencies to disperse energy attacks. Their patterns repeat every 3.7 seconds. My device creates a counter-frequency that builds up resonance until the shield collapses. 3 days later, the Resistance fleet appeared above Mars, where the Council had established their largest off-Earth colony. 5 massive Council warships protected the installation. Deploy the shield disruptors, Park ordered. Small devices attached to Resistance ships began emitting precisely calibrated energy pulses. The Council warships' shields flickered, then failed completely. All ships, attack now, Park commanded. The battle lasted less than an hour. All 5 Council warships were destroyed or disabled. The Resistance forces landed at the Mars colony and freed 30,000 human workers. News of the defeat spread through Council space quickly. It was unprecedented. A primitive species had not only resisted, but had actually defeated Council warships in direct combat. In her quarters aboard the Haydai, Park received a surprising transmission. This is Representative Wujin of the Sylvan Confederation, said a slender, tree-like being on the screen. We are a minor member of the Council. We wish to discuss possibilities. Over the next month, similar messages arrived from other species, smaller members of the Council who had long chafed under the dominance of the founding races. Half of all Council ships deployed to Earth have been destroyed or disabled. Intelligence Officer Jisoo reported during a strategy meeting. Our sources indicate they're bringing in reinforcements from 3 sectors. General Park studied the tactical display, showing Council movements across the solar system. They still don't understand what they're facing. To them, we're just animals who learn to use tools. Tools that are tearing apart their fleet, Dr. Doyeon added with grim satisfaction. The general's expression darkened. But at what cost? Every time Executor Minha loses a ship, she destroys another city. We need to end this before there's nothing left to save. She turned to her commanders. It's time to take the fight beyond our solar system. We need to strike at something the Council values more than Earth. The resistance leaders leaned forward as Park outlined her most daring plan yet. An attack on the Council's primary shipyards in the Arcturus system. If successful, it would cripple their ability to replace the vessels they had lost. As the meeting ended, Park stood alone at the viewport, looking toward distant Earth, a planet she hadn't set foot on in 5 years. "We're coming home," she whispered. "No matter what it takes." Smoke filled the vast corridors of the Arcturus shipyards. Emergency alarms wailed as workers from a dozen alien species ran for escape pods. Above the massive space facility, 20 human ships appeared suddenly from hyperspace. They moved with perfect coordination, targeting the incomplete Council warships still in their construction cradles. Captain Hyun of the resistance ship Thunderbolt watched his target through the viewport, a nearly finished Council dreadnought that would have carried enough firepower to destroy a planet. "Weapon systems locked," reported his weapons officer. "Fire," Hyun ordered calmly. The new disruptor weapons designed by Dr. Doyeon cut through the unshielded hull of the massive ship. Secondary explosions rippled along its frame as power systems overloaded. Across the shipyard, the scene repeated itself. The resistance ships struck with surgical precision, destroying only military vessels and avoiding worker habitats. "All targets neutralized," Communications Officer Yuna announced. 47 capital ships destroyed. "Mission complete." Captain Hyun nodded. "Signal the fleet. Jump to rendezvous coordinates." One by one, the human ships vanished into hyperspace, leaving behind the greatest destruction the Council had experienced in 2,000 years. 3 days later, Executor Minha stood before the Council's high chamber, her blue skin almost white with rage. The chamber was a vast amphitheater carved from a single crystal, housing representatives from over 100 species that made up the Galactic Council. "Impossible," she shouted, her voice echoing in the chamber. "These primitives were nothing 3 cycles ago. Now they threaten our outer worlds." The Council leader raised a hand for silence. "Executor, your repeated failures require explanation. The humans were supposed to be contained. They're using technology they shouldn't understand." Minha protested. "They've improved upon designs it took us centuries to perfect." Murmurs spread through the chamber. For the first time in living memory, disagreement could be heard among the Council members. Ambassador Hannah of the Luminary species rose from her seat. The Luminary were an ancient race, their bodies seeming to glow with inner light. They rarely spoke in Council meetings, making her words all the more powerful. "Perhaps we have underestimated these humans," she said, her voice gentle but firm. "Their adaptability is unlike anything we've encountered. In just 5 cycles, they'd gone from a pre-spaceflight civilization to defeating our best ships." "Adaptability," sneered Minha. "They're vermin who refuse to accept their proper place. Give me more ships, and I will crush them once and for all." "More ships?" asked another Council member. "After they destroyed 47 at Arcturus, they could attack anywhere next, maybe even here." Fear spread through the chamber at the thought. While the Council argued, General Park stood in a different part of space, leading a smaller but equally important mission. Intelligence had revealed the location of a secret research facility where thousands of Earth's greatest scientists had been imprisoned. The Council had been studying them, trying to understand and counter humanity's remarkable adaptability. The facility orbited a red dwarf star far from major Council worlds. Security was heavy, but focused on keeping prisoners in, not attackers out. "They don't expect us to know about this place," Park told her strike team. "That's our advantage." The raid was swift and precise. Human ships disabled the facility's defenses while boarding teams freed the prisoners. Over 3,000 scientists, engineers, and thinkers who had been taken from Earth during the invasion were liberated. Dr. Iona, once the director of Earth's Advanced Physics Institute, was among them. Though thin and scared from years of captivity, her mind remained sharp. "They've been studying us like lab animals," she told General Park as the rescue ships jumped to safety, "testing our problem-solving abilities, our creativity, our adaptability. They can't understand how we learn so quickly." "Did they learn anything useful?" Park asked. Dr. Iona smiled grimly. "No, but we learned everything about them. Their physiology, psychology, cultural blind spots. And we know where they're vulnerable." The liberated scientists brought invaluable intelligence. Using this information, Park devised her boldest strategy yet. Instead of continuing to fight within Earth's solar system, she would take the war to the Council itself. 1 month later, resistance ships appeared simultaneously above 12 Council worlds. Their targets were precise: military bases, weapons factories, command centers. No civilian areas were touched, despite the Council's brutal bombardment of Earth's cities. On the planet Maldor, home to one of the Council's oldest species, Commander Jan led the attack on a massive weapons factory. "We could level their cities," his weapons officer suggested, "after what they did to Earth." Jan shook his head. "That's not who we are. Target military installations only. The civilians aren't our enemies." The attack sent a powerful message throughout Council space. Humans could strike anywhere, but chose not to harm those who couldn't fight back. The contrast with the Council's tactics was stark. In the High Chamber, the Council's unity, maintained for thousands of years, finally cracked. "I move that we open negotiations with the humans," Ambassador Hannah proposed formally. "Negotiate? With primitives?" Executor Minha was aghast. "They are clearly not primitives," replied another council member. "And they have shown more honor in war than we have." The vote that followed shocked everyone. 7 species declared neutrality in the conflict. 3 others, including the influential Luminari, announced they would withdraw their forces from Earth immediately. "This council has lost its way," Ambassador Hannah stated. "We were founded to protect and guide, not conquer and exploit." Executor Minha watched in horror as her authority crumbled. "You will regret this betrayal," she hissed at the departing members. On the Resistance command ship, General Park received the news with cautious optimism. "The Council is fracturing," Intelligence Officer Jisu reported. "For the first time in thousands of years, they're not united." Park nodded thoughtfully. "This changes everything." "Do we press our advantage?" asked Commander Junot. "Strike while they're in chaos." Park looked at the star map showing both Council and Earth forces. For the first time, the balance seemed almost equal. "No," she decided. "We prepare for the final phase. This ends where it began, at Earth." The liberation of humanity's homeworld would be their greatest challenge yet. But for the first time since the invasion, victory seemed possible. The final battle began at dawn. Though in space there was no true dawn or dusk. The Resistance fleet emerged from hyperspace above Eternia Prime, the ancient homeworld of the Council's founding species. General Park stood on the bridge of the Haida, her face calm despite the enormous risk they were taking. "All ships report ready," said Communications Officer Yumna. "Our allies are in position." Through the viewport, Park could see over 500 ships, the largest fleet humans had ever assembled. Nearly half were vessels from species that had broken away from the Council to join humanity's cause. "Begin the attack," Park ordered quietly. On every ship, human captains activated Dr. Doyen's final and greatest creation, the Neuralink communication system. Small devices attached to their temples connected their thoughts directly, allowing them to coordinate with no delay at all. Information flowed between captains faster than any computer could process it. The Council's defense fleet moved to intercept them, trying to protect the massive space station that had housed the Galactic Council for thousands of years. But they were too slow. The human ships and their allies moved as one perfect organism, anticipating each Council maneuver before it happened. "They can't match our coordination," Commander Chunho reported with satisfaction. "Their quantum transmissions have a 3-second delay. We're operating in real time." Council ships exploded one after another. The defense line began to crumble. Inside the Council station, Executor Minha received increasingly desperate reports. "Half our ships destroyed already," an officer told her, his voice shaking. "Human vessels have breached the inner defense line." "Impossible," Minha screamed, slamming her fist on the control panel. "Deploy all remaining ships. They must not reach this station." But it was too late. The HFY and 3 other human vessels had already broken through. They docked at emergency airlocks, cutting through the sealed doors with energy tools. General Park led the boarding party herself, wearing light battle armor and carrying a Council energy weapon. Fighting was intense in the corridors as they pushed toward the center of the station. "The Hall of Ages is just ahead," said Intelligence Officer Jisu, checking the stolen station map. "That's where the remaining Council members have gathered." The massive doors to the hall stood open. Inside, General Park found the remnants of the once mighty Galactic Council, just 12 representatives where once 100 had sat. Executor Minha stood at the center, her blue skin now almost gray with rage. "So the primitives have come to gloat," she said as Park entered. Council guards raised their weapons, but Minha waved them down. "There's been enough death today." "You've lost," Park told her simply. "Your fleet is destroyed or scattered. Your Council is divided." Through the windows of the hall, they could see the battle ending. Human ships were now securing the station, disabling rather than destroying the remaining Council vessels. "Then destroy us," Minha replied bitterly. "Exterminate us as we would have done to you. Complete your revenge." General Park shook her head. "That's the difference you never understood. We fought because we had to, not because we wanted to." She stepped forward, placing a data tablet on the ancient Council table. "These are our terms: equality for all species in a new galactic alliance, with Earth as a founding member. No species will rule over others. All will have equal voice and equal rights." The Council members looked at each other in disbelief. "You would show mercy after what we did to your world?" asked one elderly representative. "Mercy isn't weakness," Park replied. "It's strength. We could destroy you, but we choose a better path. Every species has something valuable to contribute, including yours. We want partners, not subjects." After 7 years of war, the peace treaty was signed in that same Hall of Ages. The Galactic Council was dissolved. In its place rose the new Galactic Alliance, founded on principles of equality and mutual respect. 1 year later, General Park stood in the rebuilt Alliance Hall. The chamber had been redesigned with seats arranged in a circle, symbolizing that no species stood above others. Representatives from 100 worlds, including a now healing Earth, debated trade policies as equals. Dr. Doyan approached slowly, walking with the help of mechanical supports. The brilliant physicist had lost the use of his legs during an attack on one of the resistance bases, but his mind remained as sharp as ever. "Quite a change from the old Council," he observed, looking around the chamber. Park nodded. "They're actually listening to each other, something the Council never did." Dr. Doyan adjusted his walking supports. Was it worth it? All the sacrifice, all the pain. Park watched as Earth's ambassador, a young woman who had been just a child when the invasion began, spoke confidently about new educational exchange programs between species. "Ask me in 100 years," she replied with a small smile. "But I think it was. We didn't just survive. We changed the galaxy." She looked at the star map displaying all the Alliance worlds. There were so many they looked like a galaxy in themselves. Billions of beings now living together in a peace that would have been unimaginable 7 years ago. In orbit around Eternia Prime, human ships patrolled alongside vessels from former Council worlds. Engineers from a dozen species worked together on new designs that combined the best technologies of all Alliance members. Park thought back to that terrible day when Earth fell, when she had flown with just a handful of survivors in a stolen shuttle. No one could have imagined then that humanity would not only fight back, but would transform the very power that had sought to enslave them. They had proven themselves not through domination or revenge, but through perseverance, adaptability, and ultimately, mercy. In showing a better way forward, humanity had found its true place among the stars. As Park left the council chamber, a message arrived from Earth. The final restoration project for the Amazon basin was complete. The last of the mining scars was healing. Earth, like humanity itself, had endured. The end.